Hello, Carol Taylor-Kearney here at Powell Arts, and I'm standing with Pamela Boucher, and we're with two of her very beautiful artworks that she's now going to introduce us to.
Thank you. This one here is Spring Collection, and it is a mixed media. There's a little bit of everything in here, and this piece is about just kind of what's going on in the world today. And I was just using, fashion as a motif to, as a counterpoint to that, to add a little humor, but also, not, it's not really funny, but,
It's funny, interesting, not funny, haha.
Yeah, exactly. I don't, I like to use humor a lot.
Yeah.
Because some things are difficult.
Yeah, it's a coping thing. It helps you process.
Yeah, and the subjects I'm attracted to tend to be a little more.
Well, humor and cliche, I think, are
Difficult.
two ways of tackling very difficult emotional subjects,
Exactly.
and they give you an entry point and something to say.
Exactly.
And also I think that humor and cliche are both things. We've talked about this there's another artist who does a lot with like fairy tales and children's stories because she thinks that even though it's a little cliche, they're touchstones. But there's something about humor and cliche and like wit that is something that I think speaks to our humanity. And so it makes it easier to process through things because it makes it an experience feel universal and it makes people feel seen.
Right. And it is human. It's just really human. I'm fascinated by human behavior, human psychology, and people are just really funny.
Yeah,
They really are. And the things we do are just funny. Yeah, we do ridiculous things. So it was just a counterpoint to that, the horrors of this spring, and then fashion as the ultimate escape.
Well, she even looks like
Fantasy
she's
world.
being thoughtful with her hand gesture.
Yeah, there's a little thoughtful and also challenging. It's a challenge too, and there's an arrogance to it also.
Set
that I
of the
was
legs
trying
and
to
the eyes, yeah.
and also I try to, regardless of subject, I try to make the uncomfortable beautiful
Yeah.
if I can, and so that's that. I don't feel this is dark at all. I mean, some people might feel it as dark, but my things aren't dark to me because there's always that undercurrent of levity and humor.
Yeah.
And there's a romance to it. And I don't mean romance just in, love,
Yeah.
which it does have that, and it kind of looks bridal. But on the other hand, it's romance is like the romantic tradition.
Well, we also think
art.
we think of because it's expressive, and I think there is something very emotive about your work, and they almost have a swirling quality of the way that things are coming together, where the way your eye moves throughout the piece, like where you view it as a whole and then your eye wanders to put the components together, that I think is very evocative. And so I also don't find these dark, but I also don't find them, they are talking about tension and these hard subjects, but I don't necessarily think that's ugly. I think that people have this idea that dark subject matter has to be heavy. I don't think that's true, because if it becomes too heavy, your brain can't,
No one wants to look at that.
Yeah, no one wants to look at that, but people have a really hard time
Yeah.
processing that too. You have to you can't feel burdensome. And I find
And these are
yes,
beautifully
I agree.
light.
Well,
Yes.
thank you.
But they're light because of light, and they're light because the colors. But I'd like to hear you talk more. Okay, what is the name of this one, since we're...
This is Time Passes Quickly Now. And this speaks to our relationship to time and memory and proportion and perspective, reality, how everything, as you age, how everything shifts. The ground is constantly shifting behind you, and the things you think you know, you don't know. And, and that's why I have this retro children's book image here, because it's so canned, and the reality of life is so very different.
Yeah, it's nothing but that. And I also love how it looks like you've indicated that this person might have glasses, and yet with this kind of line, and yet she might never have had glasses, because hidden behind this is the other part of her face and the youthfulness of the lips. Well, I'd like you to talk a little bit about the composition that you do here, which is similar but different.
Yeah, I'm always drawn. I never get tired, of the nuances of human expression.
Yeah.
But I only do faces. I don't care about the rest of it. I stick with the face because it fascinates me how the slightest change in expression.
Yeah.
It means so much. And so it's not ever. I don't ever want to give anything away. I don't want to hit you on the head with it. I want you to figure out, is this person happy? Are they sad? Are they missing their youth or whatever?
Right.
Because it's all those things.
Yeah. Well, and I also think it's interesting the placement that you've done of the picture from the vintage picture from the book, because it's right over her eyes and our eyes and like where her mind is. And I think that we think of aging and maturity and time passing as a very visual and also a cerebral thing, because at the same time, like I was just talking to my friend who I've known since we were beginner adults, and you fall back into exactly that dynamic that's ageless and things. It feels like time is a flat circle because your brain understands that there is a passing of time, and yet at the same time there's a oneness with the wholeness of your life, I think.
Yeah, that's a good point, and you don't figure that out until you're older.
No, because you don't have that perspective.
Yeah, and like when you're a kid, everything takes forever. If
Yeah.
you're interested in Christmas, birthday, and summer.
Yeah.
Right, that's your whole life.
Absolutely. Wait for the high.
Last day of school.
4th of July has fireworks.
Yeah, but I mean, everything takes forever, and then now summer's years gone. They're just gone.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's also like a proportional thing, because when you're a kid, you've only had like 3 years, so like you've only had this many days, and so like
1 year is a third of your life.
That's right.
At this point,
right.
1 year is.
And then you have to really start to value time and how do I spend it?
Yeah.
With every passing year.
Yeah.
So it's bittersweet.
And I love how you've written in
I was gonna say the same
time passes, because both it's like what we might get out of this and gives us that thought, but it also could possibly be that this is what this person is thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So especially because it's both floating, it's curved.
Yeah, it's a current experience.
Yeah. So you really get that. And now I'm going to really get you, because I'm going to go into the materiality, because I'm a materials girl. And I'm looking at this, and they're absolutely gorgeous from across the room that you get up close, and it's like, there's this, there's that. There are these little things here. You can see how you've collaged that in here. The textures that you're getting here. The same holds true for this. That, I love that you've given us the fingers coming out of the gloves, and they almost look like it could be moving or tapping. So can you talk a little more? You told us the materials it's made out of, but how do you make those decisions?
Yeah, how do you think about materials when you're creating a piece?
Well, I usually start with my left hand, actually, because I'm trying to not exert control.
Oh.
Because otherwise I'll end up with a perfect face.
Yeah.
Perfect, piece, and that's not what I want to do anymore. I mean, I want to have as much chaos in there, the controlled chaos.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Chaos is good. It brings out creativity.
Yeah, I like to start with chaos and then just leave a lot to chance. Like instead of, I try to move quickly. In other words, layering and layering and layering, and then taking it off and redoing it, and taking it off and redoing. And I find that is more rewarding for me personally, and it's freeing, and it just allows, like I said, for that element of chance.
Well, it brings out astonishing results.
Yeah.
And it really gets the light. Like, I think if I put these in a dark room, they might actually glow. Because I mean, there's some
So
things
you
that,
like the color. You like the colors.
of course I love the color, but I also
But
love
I think
value
that
transitions.
I was going to
like you're
say,
doing.
I think that the negative versus positive, like space, and the way that the way that you've used the white, the face, especially in Time Passes Quickly now, we think of white as not a negative space exactly, but an open space. But you've brought that forward, and then the grounding is actually the color. I think that it's interesting how you're using tonality and value against each other.
Thank you.
And then you allow color to be something separate that becomes integrated into it. So when you are doing these, and you're starting with your left hand, and you're putting this down, and then at what point do you start to introduce color into your artwork?
Towards the end. The best, the part I most enjoy is the drawing. you know, the drawing, the bringing the face forward, and then things start to happen, and I start to feel what's going on. And like, I don't plan these at all.
Do you feel that they emerge?
They
Is
do,
that- okay.
they emerge, and I'm trying to be intuitive most of the time. I'm trying that, and I like that, and I like the color as almost an assault. I don't know what might have been a nice drawing.
An assault. I've attacked you with beautiful color.
No, I mean, I like collage because it's an intrusion. You know,
Yes,
it doesn't belong there.
you've placed it there.
Yeah, but it's an intrusion, you know, and I like that, and the color sometimes I use.
So I'm going to
an
remember
intrusion.
you as the positive aggressive.
No, it's like we say that one of her very good friends uses a lot of glitter, and people think, oh, it must be so feminine. And I'm like, no, she uses glitter and pink aggressively. Like there's nothing
She
soft.
weaponizes
Yes,
glitter.
there's nothing soft about it. She's like,
You're going to be glitter.
yeah, it's very like, and people were like,
I like that.
and the thing is that when you say that to people, I've said that to people before, that she uses glitter aggressively, and they go, like, it doesn't come together for them. And then they see her work and they go, I see what you're saying.
So I love that you said that about the color and
Like, almost as an assault. That's so funny.
But I'm gonna do the buying section of this, which has to do with when you look at these works, what do you want the viewer who's looking at them to come away with? That how do you want them to approach your work?
I want them to be drawn in and think, you know, to just think about. And I don't want, like I said, I want people to project what they want. You know, I don't want to be heavy-handed with messaging. Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
So I don't want that. I guess I just want people to be intrigued, like what happened here.
You want like you want an exploration that kind of builds the narrative for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are very mysterious in that kind of way.
Yeah, I like that.
When we were looking at the works that you submitted, we came back to these over and over and over again. We were doing just that. We were creating our own stories for, like, we were
Yeah, you
ascertaining.
hooked us.
Yeah.
You hooked us.
Oh,
So-
thank you.
No, they're absolutely beautiful. The other question is, when there is someone who buys one of these, where do you, in your imagination, take that perfect buyer? What room would they put these in, or what kind of space do you think they belong in? Large space, intimate space?
Yeah, intimate. That's just off the top of my head. Am I wrong?
No, I think you're right. Like, because the thing is so we we were talking to someone earlier, and we said we would put his one piece on. It's not just the scale of his work that we said this would be something that you put in a large space. It's also because it demands that you give it space. And these look beautiful from across the room, but these are pieces that you want to get into an intimate space with and really take time to explore. And so I think that these demand to be close and conversational. And so I think an intimate space is what I would do. Like,
That's true. Not only that, I noticed in looking at these as compared to the images, that the head size is not oversized, it's not undersized, it's people-sized. And so I feel like I feel like approaching these as though this is another person that I'm going to have a conversation with, and they're so conversational.
That's nice.
They're very conversational, and I think you've worked hard to get it that way.
I also like that both of them were wearing striped shirts. For some reason, that's just a nice detail to me.
Yeah.
That, like, in linking between the two.
Yeah, that is nice. When you chose each, so I said, oh God, they're dressed the same. Oh no. I'm going to explain that.
See, I don't think I noticed it until I saw them next to each other, and then I was like, oh, look at that.
No, I noticed that they both, I didn't think dressed the same, but I noticed that they both had stripes. And I thought that'll make my pairing easier when I'm setting up a wall from that standpoint. But each one of these is so individual. And of course, online, everything's the same size. And then when you see them, they're two different sizes. You go and realize that, framed, they're each different sizes. But then I noticed that the head size is just
Is comparable.
It's comparable, and it's just the size as when I have a conversation with any person.
Mhm.
It's just the amount of space I want to keep from them.
Yeah.
To be able to have a nice conversation.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of work we talk a lot about work being narrative, but not all work is conversational. Your work is very conversational in that it requires conversing with the piece in order to kind of get your feel some sort of like, I don't know what the word is, but like resolve or like satisfaction, like getting up close, kind of looking in, like it wants the space to be thoughtful. And
Yeah, yours are not window views. Like a lot of artists are actually looking for a window view when you're looking into this other world. Yours are otherworldly.
Another looking into you.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you have to go off on a little bit about their looking into you. That's such a, that's really an important concept, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's the rope you walk, because you don't want everybody wants art they want to feel comfortable with and makes them feel good.
Yeah.
And, I'm on that border where I'm trying to make you just a little uneasy, but not really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But vulnerability and thoughtfulness can't happen without a little bit of uneasy, because that's the whole deal with intimacy is it always makes you feel. Conversations can be uncomfortable, but it doesn't mean they're bad.
Yeah, I just want you to question
Yeah.
things, and even simple things. I like drawing about the mundane.
I think you're really thoughtful, and I really appreciate that about your work, is that you want to have this engagement through thought.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Thank you.
So come see these thoughtful, engaging, conversational works.
With dynamic color.
With dynamic line too.
Yes,
I
that's
didn't
true.
even get into the line, but I thought I'm not going to lose her there. So come see these works at Powell Art.